37 minutes of this episode. We're going to get to the only reason that we're actually into the room.
Whatever, it's 17:56.
It's fine.
I hate
None
this
of those
watch.
is a real time.
Keeps going to
E3 predictions.
Yeah.
Damn metric time.
So did each person come up with 5?
Each person came up with 5.
Except for Max. He can wing a 5th one.
No, I got a mystery one for the last one.
Okay,
Also,
that's
I
good.
forgot to write
So
it.
yeah, play along at home and see how many we get right or wrong in a couple days.
Do you want to do 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2? Like, are we going
we can do
circle?
that.
Oh, I can do that, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Max, you want to start?
Yeah.
Sure.
Max, that's you. Start with one.
Okay, New Blood Dragon.
God, yes.
I know this sounds kind of crazy, but Dean Evans, Spleenzillaton on or Spleenzilla, I think, on Twitter.
Yeah.
He's a pal of mine, but he's had. I was kind of watching and waiting for him to do something on April Fool's this year. As we might know, Blood Dragon was announced as an April Fool's goof initially, and then it turned out to be real. He tweeted out, or he retweeted a few SoundCloud links from Power Glove, who did the soundtrack for the first game.
Right.
And they all they were all these like cool electro tracks that had these bizarre for the kind of album art images. They had these weird kind of like Lisa Frank looking neon like tiger print, and that's currently Dean's Twitter avatar, and we haven't heard anything else.
I mean,
so.
And Blood Dragon was sort of a Far Cry 3 tie-in. Would this be a Primal tie-in?
So that's what I think. And to go with what Max said, there's a Easter egg in a cave hidden in Far Cry Primal where there's this dragon. Glowing purple skeleton of a dragon, and it's like so cool. It looks like a crate dragon from Star Wars. I 100% of that game. I platinumed that game. It's the only game I platinumed.
Primal?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it just got me at a good time where there was not
a weird dude.
Yeah.
He changed his name to Primal Altana.
It's also a really easy platinum. I mean, fairly easy. It's
Brian Altana.
You can stop now.
Yeah.
It's probably like 15 hours, and you can platinum the entire thing. And it's just really fun. I love the setting, but one of the things that people were really disappointed about when they first announced that game was that there's no dinosaurs. Mm-hmm. Like it's like they went into this the setting that has all these prehistoric like bears and weird saber-tooth tigers and stuff like that. And I know dinosaurs don't fit within that, but people like me who aren't history buffs take all that time period and just launch it all together. And you're like, well, if there's the old Jurassic plants, then there should be the raptor and the stegosaur and the triceratops, and so I want all of that. I want them.
So you want like creationist Far Cry Primal?
Yes, yeah. I want the version where it's you can.
I want like Lisa Frank's creationist Far Cry Primal.
Yes, please. That would be so cool.
That's an episode title
go
right
to
there.
SoundCloud.com/PowerGlove because they have 3 tracks on there. One of them is called Boss Fight. One of them is called like Punch It or something.
Yeah,
I'll punch it.
And
they all feel like 90s video game soundtracks, which is really weird because I mean, if you put it this way, this would be so weird because Far Cry Primal used the same map as Far Cry 4.
Yeah.
So that was technically already Far Cry 4's Blood Dragon.
Right. So what are the odds that...
So if you remix that again... Yeah. And add lightning bolts and purple everywhere, I'm in.
But here's the thing is that, I mean, Blood Dragon was such a weird... It was such a far cry from Far Cry.
Yeah.
What are the odds it becomes its own IP, like proper?
That'd be cool.
Like it gets a full-blown, like, hey, this worked. Our weird experiment was a success.
But I think that's what Far Cry is already doing, though.
Here's what I would want from a Blood Dragon. What if it wasn't Far Cry? What if it was a Blood Dragon for a different game? Like there's no Assassin's Creed this year. What if it was an Assassin's Creed Blood Dragon? Or what if it was a different property
Next
from
Gen
Ubisoft?
Kid Chameleon.
Yeah, I mean, but like seriously, like what if you took like a
yeah.
different Ubisoft IP and gave it the Blood Dragon?
Tom Clancy's Blood Dragon.
I mean, it shouldn't have
Suddenly
to be
I
limited.
care.
Yeah. I'm totally in.
All right, Brian.
Easy one, but VR will compose the bulk of Sony's Q4 holiday first-party focus in lieu of other things being delayed. I think they're going to really push on that, and I think it's going to show weird because if you haven't tried VR yet, which hopefully you'll get a chance to in the next few months, there's going to be a lot of demos that make things look like they're fascinating in first person, but really aren't unless you put it on. They're treating this thing like it's a product launch, like it's a console launch. They're going all in. I mean, it is a product launch, but they're treating this like... I was going to say the PlayStation 5, but we're also going to get another PlayStation between now and who knows when. So, I think that VR is going to be a major focus for them. And it's mostly because they just delivered their big first-party baby in terms of Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
And with Horizon delayed until February, I think this is going to be a main focus for them at the show.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, they are winning. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they have a bigger install base. So, like, much like last year when there wasn't, Uncharted got delayed, like, there were a lot of things that weren't last fall. Sony can do just fine on third parties.
Yes.
Because, like, no matter how much Battlefield 1 leans towards Xbox and marketing, like, Call of Duty is leaning towards Sony. Battlefield, like, will still probably be sold.
Yeah.
There will be more copies sold on PS4.
Let me ask you this. You remember last gen where it seemed like Sony at times had their backs against the wall and they were trying to come up with, Sony's answer to blank, PlayStation's answer to blank.
The Halo killer or whatever.
Yeah, Killzone, Resistance were basically like, this is our Halo killer. This is our answer to Halo. Nowadays, they just call up Call of Duty and they're like, hey, just hang out with us first.
Yeah.
Get front and center with us.
Guys, I know we've been kind of casual for a while, but you want to get like a little bit exclusive?
Yeah, exactly. Which is
But you
like
can still sleep
fascinating.
with every other console. It's
Of
fine.
course.
You can be
but
on
I
my
want you to
friends
start the
with
night in my
benefits
place.
Yeah.
Oh, that got so gross.
Yeah, there's also Sony released a blog post today with a bunch of confirmed games that are going to be at the show, like smaller things, but a bunch of them were VR. It's going to be the Psychonauts World Rhombus of Ruin.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's going to be there. Thumper, Super Hypercube, a bunch of things we played before but are super cool. So,
I think we're going to see a lot of. I mean, this isn't a prediction, but I think kind of piggy-tailing on that. Yeah, woo! I think we're going to see at least one instance of like, download this app and check it out in VR for yourself using your phone and Google Cardboard, something like that. Because there
That
are
could be
enough,
interesting.
There are enough like kind of whether you're on an Oculus Rift or I have one of those like Mattel ViewMaster phone cases where you can watch porn on your phone on your face.
Is that what you're doing at work?
No.
Doing thick ropes?
No. When I go in that
ropes?
when I go in that one conference room, leave me alone. What I do in
There's
there is
glass.
Aperture
Four
science.
of the walls
No.
are glass.
no, the bathroom.
Anyway,
But no, like I think they're gonna be like, hey, check out this, go to this address and check it out in 3D yourself. And like we have, like IGN has a VR channel. Like we have a 360 video channel, which is like
YouTube.com/IGNVR.
yeah, and you can check out like tours of our office in 360 views, and it's like it's not quite VR, but if you have like the right VR view, I still don't know how that works exactly.
How do
I? But I think that to try to sell this, I think that Sony or somebody is going to be like, hey, check this thing out.
See,
you can do it yourself.
I don't know about that. I think that they're going with a lot of word of mouth on this one, and they're also going with a lot of. They'll start doing. So I started reading about appointment-based VR
word
demos.
of mouth and disease of the eyes.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing I said a half a minute ago.
No, not disease of the eyes.
No, so they're going to start doing. I've started reading about this at Best Buy. Basically, appointment-based.
Yeah, they do that for Oculus.
Oculus, and that's the only. So think about it this way: if you were like working on something for a very long time, would you want someone to see it in some sort of like half-ass version with Google Cardboard or with the weird ViewMaster porn thing you use in our secret conference room, or would you want them to go all in and actually try it the way it is, so that you could become an influencer and go tell all your friends, "This is what I want to do."
Let me skip to my number 4 prediction then, which was that I think during the conference
It's already falling apart. The whole system's falling apart.
This feels like a D&D campaign.
fine.
I think.
All right, we'll roll the dice to see if my prediction is a success.
My character's father was a blacksmith, and he has a secret sword in his shoe.
That was my number 4 prediction.
No, cast delay.
Mine was that I think we'll see an actual full game for VR. Like this is a full 30-hour
killer
experience
app.
on VR.
Yeah.
Not even a killer app. And I don't even know what it will be, but I think it will be something that is not a tech demo. It is not a short experience. It is
Something
this is a
that
campaign
in line
that
with
you will
like
play from
Chronos
beginning to
or
end.
Edge
Yeah.
of Nowhere.
Will it be
Yeah.
exclusive?
I don't know. Maybe
exclusive to PSVR?
I don't know if it'll be a new IP. I don't know. Maybe it's Resident Evil. Maybe it's whatever. But I just think we will see something that is no longer a tech demo. It is the reason why you should spend $400 for this extra thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what we'll see because, to your point, I think everything we have right now is more of along the lines of what you're saying. It's like this cool thing that you want to show your friends for 5 minutes, but I don't think there's anything that you want to sit down and play for hours and hours and hours and hours with this thing on your head.
Well, you
And I
shouldn't.
think-
That's dangerous.
I mean, you mentioned Resident Evil. That's mine. Is that we're going to see the Resident Evil. It's not going to be 7. It's going to be called Resident Evil.
Yes.
It's going to be a complete reboot from the ground up, and it is going to be. It's going to be for both Xbox and PS4, but the PS4 version will have some sort of VR component to it.
Yeah.
That's going to be exclusive to PSVR,
that
and
sounds-
whether it's a mode or a interactive film. I don't think it's just going to be put it on and you're playing the game, but it's VR. I think it's going to be augmented part of the game, which I wouldn't be surprised if we see for a bunch of games going forward. If Horizon's going to have some sort of thing, dinosaur viewer in VR, or like, you know, be able to like dissect one of the dino robots.
So it'll be like
and
how
that lines up-
certain scenes in The Dark Knight were filmed in
Yes,
IMAX or something like
100%.
that.
And that's
Okay. Yes.
exactly it. And that lines up with stuff. I mean, we'd heard that like the kitchen team might be working on it. But, like Capcom has publicly said that like they want to lean into VR for that stuff. Like it would make sense to like take a Resident Evil game. Yes, you can play it on your regular PS4, do whatever you want. But if
it's
you have
scarier
VR,
if it's on your
more.
face.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Sorry, I said the S word. My
That's
bad.
fine. You can say.
Man, I'm so excited for all this. I'm also like, I think there's going to be a lot of moments in the Sony press conference where the PlayStation Nation, if you will, starts getting splintered and fragmented. Once you start saying this is going to go here, this is going to go there.
This
or
one's
this-
on Neo. This one's VR only.
Yes.
This one's regular.
I mean,
I
that's
don't think they're going to do that. I really feel like it's going to be. Think PlayStation Move. If PlayStation Move had come out when PS3
we have
was
to?
on, if that had come out when PS3 was like, if it was on top, if PS3 was number one, and they had the luxury of being like, okay, so like sorry, to do the flip side of the coin, like they made Kinect support for Skyrim, where you could do dragon shouts at your TV, or you could say sort by item weight, and it would do one thing that was the most like game-changing minimal shift.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was like a mod on PC.
Yeah, if you have that, and there's just a little like watermark in the corner of your game box that says, "Hey, it's this
I like
supports
that a lot.
PlayStation Move," or I mean, look at there's like what MotorStorm Apocalypse had like 3D support. A handful of games had that.
Yeah.
Or even 6-axis when the console
Exactly.
first
Yeah,
launched,
like stuff
just
like that
little-
where
Yep.
they're not going to beat you over the head with it, and they're not going to like strip features, but it's it's look at this with. I mean, it's the same mentality as like, oh, like, do you like weird AR stuff? Like, look at this with your phone with a QR viewer, and like most people probably won't, but screw it. If it's there, give it a shot.
Totally. Max,
Brian,
what's your
what's-
next one? Oh wait, sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, Brian, what's your number 2?
Did you have one?
But Matt, yeah, we all had
Yeah, I
one.
did.
Okay,
we all
okay.
had one.
Yeah.
Max is on.
So just for the record, because we're all working on this doc together, it goes Brian, Marty, Max, and Andrew. So if it sounds like we're going completely out of order with cool
Yeah.
predictions,
So number 2 for me, and then we'll go to number 2 for Marty, Max, and Andrew, and we'll go around. Uncharted 4 DLC will not be dated.
because it's going to be wearing a retainer.
Because it won't be there at all.
It won't
Wait,
be there
you
at
think
all.
it's gonna be there, but it's not gonna be.
No, I don't even think it'll exist
Oh, no.
at the show.
I
I think
don't. I absolutely-
I think Uncharted 4 will be and they've earned this, but it'll be a like kind of quick sort of throwback to the old school E3s where people used to show sales data and charts and stuff like that. There'll be a moment of like, we're very proud of our team at Naughty Dog for
And we
doing
passed
this.
3 million
We
units.
passed
or
3
whatever.
million units,
Yeah.
and
These are our uncharts.
Yeah. And the multiplayer roadmap continues through blah, blah. You know, maybe we'll get a look at something cool they added to Uncharted multiplayer. Probably not even, because I think at this point people know what that's all about.
Yeah.
I don't even see that hogging up time during the press conference.
Yeah.
I think Uncharted 4 will be like a very happy, very golden footnote throughout their or at some point in their conference, and that's it. In terms of story DLC for Uncharted 4, not ready for it yet. They're going to be under the assumption, because this is such a long tail game, that most people haven't even gotten to it yet or haven't played it yet, and that this is going to be a system seller for a very long time. Also, I don't
This,
see
I think
Naughty
this is
Dog
gonna
being
come out.
so
This is gonna
rushed.
come out next year.
Yeah.
And also, just for reference, The Last of Us came out on June 14th, 2013.
Yep.
The Left Behind, the single player DLC, was announced, not even out, but announced on November 14th, 2013, which is
6 months.
5 months later.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would put
Maybe a
this
PSX.
at-
Do you know when
it was
PSX
released?
announcement?
I was
Yeah,
just about the exact same
or,
thing, yeah.
Well, or no, 5 months would be Paris Games Week. It would be. Perfect
you think
for
they're doing that
running.
again?
Interesting.
I mean, maybe. I don't
Sony
know.
has a
I
big
don't think we
presence
know.
there.
They
They
could
really
well,
skipped Gamescom last year.
Yeah.
but only once, right? So this is the year where it's either they return to Gamescom this year, or
Or
they
they
cement
double down.
themselves
They're like,
as
hey,
we're
we're
always
Do you
the
know
Paris Games Week,
when Left Behind was released?
I can look.
It's
See,
probably-
this
it was-
is why it's good for Andrew as his laptop here.
I know.
Because he's
Yeah.
able to
Yeah,
look up fun
Quickies
facts.
with
guys,
Andrew.
May 12th, 2015.
So a year.
So almost a full year, yeah.
Yeah, I can see this being like early summer next year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, because I mean that's actually, if you think about it, if you put out that DLC in the next 3 months, you're only selling to the people who bought the game already.
Yeah.
No,
where's-
that's a lie. February 13th, 2014.
Why'd you lie to us?
It's fine.
Because I love you.
Happy Valentine's
You
Day.
always
Get
lie
out.
to the ones
Yeah, you
you
monster.
love.
My second prediction is that we're going to get a tease for Bloodborne 2, and it is not going to be developed by FromSoft.
What?
And that this is going to be a Sony Japan Studios game.
Oh man, I really hope not.
Sony owns
That's bold.
the Bloodborne IP. I feel like Miyazaki and FromSoft want to distance themselves from Souls and Bloodborne and want to do something differently, and that Bloodborne sold so well
Yep.
that I think, so Sony's going to continue.
So,
and Sony Japan Studios did help with the development of Bloodborne.
in the interest of transparency, at IGN, we watch the press conferences in a room with like 100 people.
Yes.
And I remember when the first time we saw that Bloodborne trailer, that was one of the most like haunting, deranged, chilling. Like this is grown up Castlevania.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I wanted from that franchise. And if you miss it on the show, that was one of those games where like I played it, I gave up on it, I was about to leave it, and then I came back triumphantly and destroyed it.
That's still one of my favorite moments from the show.
And I absolutely loved it. Oh my God, Andrew.
Drink your milk, you'll
Persona
grow big
got delayed.
and strong.
Wow.
That's what happens when Persona gets delayed.
I'm torn on that. I mean, I'm with you. I think we're going to get Bloodborne 2 no matter what, but I think your prediction is a little worrisome. I'd rather see From just...
I'm not doing...
Guys,
my predictions
great
aren't all
news.
positives.
Uncharted is coming
Mine
to
are.
phones with the Uncharted card collector.
That is not
game.
one of Max's.
Uncharted is on phones.
Yeah.
Sorry, not
that-
Battle Bloodborne. My bad.
Battleborn.
Sorry,
Max, what's your next one?
Injustice 2 or Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah.
And this will be revealed via posters in the convention center, not on a press conference.
So do you
Because
think it's just-
WB always doubles down.
They're
on
already
having
doing
posters.
it. Did you see the tweets?
Ed Boon.
Ed Boon's tweet?
No,
saw
he's
it.
being
I
like
saw it
silly.
With the two?
Yeah, I saw
Yeah, he's been being coy about
Ed Boon's
Injustice,
current buddy icon on Twitter. It's not called that. It's just a large serif font, white on a black background, either Roman numeral 2
Yep.
or 11.
That's why I love that because it can be.
Because it could be either, yeah.
What if it just we do it? He comes out and he's like, "Neversoft is here with a great announcement," and it shows the 2 and it goes boom, and then it zooms out and it's the 2 is actually 2 L's in a. We'll be back next year with a better announcement.
It could also be, so it could be 11, it could be Injustice 2. Is there any world where it's Mortal Kombat versus DC 2?
Oh, man.
I think. I mean, this
Because
leads into-
Injustice and because Mortal Kombat did so much better than
As
this.
much
leads
as I
into
wanna
my
say-
next one, but I think right now of all times, DC is going to be more careful than that. And I
Right.
think in a year where we already have Telltale Batman coming, where we have all these things, like, or we assume, but like I think there's.
No, Telltale Batman, they announced it's coming this summer.
Yeah.
Debuts this summer.
So perfect. Yeah, I think I would be surprised if they did a DC.
I mean, if
I
they-
would
if
love
they-
a
if they-
crossover because I want to see Kano rip out Zack Snyder's heart.
That's a joke's on you because Zack Snyder has no heart.
Hey, he's from Wisconsin.
So that ties into my next one. That
explains a lot.
My technical number one on this list, we'll call it number two, is that I think there will be a new Batman game revealed, but not an Arkham game. I think it will be more in line with the like Affleck BVS universe.
So outside of
Interesting.
Telltale, outside of the Arkham franchise,
Yeah, probably. I don't think it'll
third.
be probably not Rocksteady yet, but I can see it being the Arkham Origins team. I
Yeah,
can see it being
Montreal.
like
WB Montreal.
WB Montreal reveals a new Batman game that maybe isn't literally the Affleck Batman, but it's more in tone. In the same way that I think the
so is it gun?
well, I think the Batman in Arkham
He takes 2.5 hours of
Asylum
my
and
life
Arkham
and
He's just the
doesn't
City-
Punisher, but he's got a bat on his shirt.
I think the Batman in Arkham City and Arkham Asylum is very much the animated series Batman, but with a tiny twist of the Christopher Nolan Batman.
Right.
I think you got just a little injection of that, and I can see them doing that here. I can see you getting a Batman that is closer to the Affleck Batman than
So you don't think it would be in the Arkham universe? Wow, interesting.
Batman whatever, but no Arkham.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Interesting.
God,
I'm also really desperate for that. I would love to see something that maybe they cut down on development costs by not having a million like destroyable boxes and carbon fiber everything and having something that's cell shaded.
Yeah,
and
or
draws from the
anything.
Bruce Timm
Or
designs.
even-
Yeah, can we
I mean,
can
and
we
that's what
side note
Telltale-
that and just say that we really want a Batman the Animated Series Arkham game?
But that's what we hope Telltale is. Like, we haven't seen that game yet,
Yeah.
but we don't know.
That's not what I hope that
I
is.
would love to see the Batman Telltale game take a totally new art style and be something different. I don't want it to just look like The Walking Dead and be Batman.
and
I
it will
think-
be, but I want what
Yeah,
I want
Dude,
is
if that looks like David Mazzucchelli's like year one stuff, like
Oh my
which
God,
is
yeah.
kind of what
Yeah.
what they've shown
Or
with
even
teaser
like,
stuff. but-
honestly, I would even be down for like a Frank Miller style Dark Knight Returns, leaning
You mean
into
it
that.
starts off with like really tight designs, and by the end of it, it's just
It's
like an
sketchy and-
angry preschooler drew it.
I think that's all awesome. I have a feeling the Telltale thing is going to lean closer to the detective side of Batman and less the pow bam biff
They
side
also
of
said
Batman.
it's almost split half and half. You play half the game as Bruce Wayne.
Right. So yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think for
I
whatever
think I'm
this
gonna buy this hotel.
for whatever this game will
Welcome
be, I
home,
do think-
Claudia Schiffer.
I do think we'll see a Batman game that does not have the Arkham name, and more importantly, the first game in whatever this new series is WB Montreal and not Rocksteady.
Right.
Because I think whatever Rocksteady is doing, they're ready to move on from Batman.
Okay.
All right.
Brian?
Last Guardian will get a date. Mm-hmm. Not
Unlike
like
Uncharted DLC, which has retainer, Last Guardian is a varsity football player.
we will get an actual, real, honest day of the calendar year
What's
that we live in.
So that's 2016?
2016. We will get a day in 2016. We will also get an announcement of a special edition collector's box with a bird dog statue.
Or with an actual bird dog?
An actual bird dog.
What month
No.
do you think it's going to be in? Make a real prediction.
God, this
What's
is
the
tough.
day? What's the day?
I want to say fall. I want to
It's gonna be fall?
say
Yeah, it would be fall. Early or late, though? Are we talking September or are we talking November?
October.
I don't think it's going to be October. I think October is for PSVR.
I also
Yeah.
think October is like a suicide month. Because
I think
it's
September.
Okay.
I think it's going to come out on the day after Christmas.
You know what? I'll do.
Yeah.
You're saying September. I'll do November.
6 a.m. day
We'll
after
see.
I would
Christmas.
honestly, I mean, you're joking, but I would agree with like as late as possible. I think
Yeah.
if it's 2016, this is like the Far Cry 3. This is like the as
Really?
late as we can possibly get it out and still be in 2016.
Do you
Oh,
think
like
they're-
December.
Because
1st?
Horizon's Q1, so I don't think they want to push it to 2017. I think they will do whatever they can do in their power to get it out this year.
I don't think they want to push it to 2017 because it will be the biggest running joke in the gaming industry since Duke Nukem Forever.
But also, dude, no one like I'm excited for Last Guardian. I'm going to play that game. That is not a mainstream
I hear
GTA
that,
selling game.
No,
that
it's
is
not.
a game
No,
you
that's-
do not
that's-
put against. You don't put it against Battlefield and Call of Duty.
Exactly.
You put it out
Yeah.
in its own month.
Yeah,
and that's why
the thing
December
is
makes
that I think that it's one of those games that like the people who give it. Sorry,
That's
I said
fine.
that
You can
before
keep cussing. We've been
The
drinking
people
for
who are
an
gonna
hour.
buy it
people
are
who
gonna
give,
buy it.
the people who give a bird dog hoot, they're the ones
hoot
who are
bark.
going to pre-order it. That's a game for adults with pot cards and teenagers with aspirations of pot cards,
With friends who have pot cards.
who own dogs and birds. Maybe
With
I
older
don't
brothers
know.
buying them booze.
But
I
yeah,
think
like
that's actually a good prediction.
but like
December.
this is not a game that like you're gonna be like, oh, mom, I want this. Like maybe you are, but like your mom's not gonna see that on the shelf and be like, oh, that looks like something that kids would want. They're gonna grab something with like a scruffy looking white dude with a gun on the front.
yeah.
I mean, it's a niche. It's a big niche, but the hardcore people who care
I was
about
literally
the Last
about to
Guardian,
say a big niche, a bitch, and I'm like, God, that's. I can say that. No, because
If
it
you
wasn't the
spell it
swear.
right.
No, I don't have to cuss it because it wasn't the swear. It
We don't
was
know if the bird
B-I-C-G.
dog is
Yeah.
a male or female.
Anyway, I think the people who care about this game are very devoted and will buy it. And I think with the install base of PS4 in a world where like an Infamous game sold
Yeah.
as well as it did,
But, I mean, and
there are
we-
plenty of people who will buy this game, but it's not going to sell 65 million
No,
copies.
yeah,
like
cold
GTA.
bucket of
There's
water to
only-
the face
there's
on
only
this one.
50 million.
This game will never recoup its costs.
Yeah.
Ever. And it will never be. I don't even think it'll top the charts of the top 3 on NPD. I just don't think it will. It's just not that kind
Well,
of
if
game.
it's in December, maybe it will, but yeah.
Well, maybe it will in December. But no, I think
we'll
even then
probably
you're going to be
talking about it in 10 years though.
Do you guys think we
Yes.
get a Last Guardian's been in development for a very long time? We saw some cool interactive stuff at TGS, that big wall that you could interact
think
with.
there's gonna be a
Do you think
PSVR
there's yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you think there's a VR component? Do
I
you
think they're
there's
going to show
some-
that there's a PSVR thing where you can sort of play with Bird Dog a little bit.
I think
Like
100% this game runs in PSVR.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think it's actually probably going to be a really great game for that because it seems a little more like slow and methodical in terms of instead of just being like I think a lot of people want first person shooters in PSVR,
Yeah.
but I kind of want a game like this. Like,
Yeah, I want something slow, and I mean, I want not specifically The Witness, but the feeling of The Witness, where
Yeah.
it's very quiet and peaceful and at your own pace. I want that.
and a
Then
bunch of
Bird Dog-
bridges are getting all screwed up by that
A
old
bunch
bird
of
dog.
sad
Also,
statues rising out of the water.
People are really underestimating the appreciation of like of what VR is like when you're controlling the camera.
Yep.
Not like first person is actually really awful because
You're
like
nauseous.
I mean it hasn't been done right yet. But if you're just if you're moving your head around and you're
like
able to like
subtle VR.
and it adds to it's like you're watching toys move around.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Totally.
And if you look at this team's last few games, camera control has almost always been a very secondary aspect to it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even like the thing that strikes me when I go back, and I know Jose, who works with us, listen to NBC, has recently been playing Shadow of the Colossus, and that's a game that no matter what it looks like now, like there was the PS3 remaster, but like obviously it's dated a little bit, but that game's sense of scale.
A lot of people are dating.
Yeah. That game's sense of scale and scope
It's on the
is
flag
incredible.
Team. Does okay.
I would argue that it's still almost unmatched in many ways.
Yeah, it totally. I mean, I think honestly, weirdly, the closest thing is God of War. I think God of War is the only other game that's given me that feeling of like, holy crap! Like when you're like climbing Gaia at the beginning of God of War 3, like that is a game that gets that sense. I would love to see Last Guardian have anything like that that gives me that feeling of like, oh my God, like this is not like something I've played before.
Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely love that. Especially you sort of mix in that the element of like the greatest stuff in Uncharted 4 were the like scaling that clock tower or something like that.
Totally, yeah.
And then as it all starts falling apart,
gravel in his ass.
That was good.
Ass gravel. Speaking of games that have been in development 10 years, I think Final Fantasy 15 is going to have a huge showing at E3. That was weird.
That was the lamest thing I've...
Weird. But...
I know both of you have had sex.
But what's the bad news?
I don't know that for sure.
What's the bad news?
Definitely don't believe it anymore.
I think that will be the only of Square's big 3 RPGs that will be there. I think we will not see a peep from Kingdom Hearts, and I don't think we'll get a peep.
They just announced they're doing an HD version of Final Fantasy.
But again, they just announced it, so it wasn't on stage. Like they did it now because it won't.
I think they're going all in on 15, which is coming out in 2 months, and I don't think we're going to see anything at the show from 7 remaster, 7 remake, or Kingdom Hearts 3. Maybe 12. We might be able to see 12.
Nothing from 7, even though it was there last year.
Because why would they, right? Like they're launching their biggest game, their most important game in a very long time is launching. Not even just like it's not like it's announced, not like it's far away. It launches in September.
It's the most important game
3 months away.
Probably 10 years.
So you're of the mind that putting out so many Final Fantasy things at the same time, or at least all that, is sort of crowding the conversation.
Yeah,
and
because
they want
think
to
about it, right?
on...
They already, as it is, they have Brave Exvius, which is their mobile game, World of Final Fantasy. Like, there's no dearth of Final Fantasy games. There are a ton of things in that world. Dirge of Cerberus.
Did you say dearth?
Yeah, I did.
Like, what is that?
Old Dearth McGirth?
Like, there's no lack of Final Fantasy games. Like, there are plenty of things going on.
Darth or Darth?
Derek?
Derek. Dearth.
Fred Dearth?
That's one of those words like naive. I never know how to say it.
There's no lack of Final Fantasy games right now.
Right.
Like it's not like they need the brand recognition.
But Marty,
I think with Final Fantasy 7 and especially with Kingdom Hearts, I definitely don't think you see Kingdom Hearts because that's a distraction.
But
like,
that's a totally different franchise. That's like a...
Yeah, but it's this crossover audience.
Everyone who's going to play one of them is going to play the other one.
Exactly.
I guess you're right.
Dude, I completely hear where you're coming from, but I think that we're going to see a few sprinklings of other Square Enix things. You know,
But they don't have a conference this year.
Yeah, I think.
But granted, all their stuff last year was during Sony.
I think it would be 12. Like if they've already confirmed 12 is at E3, 12 remaster, or 12 the Zodiac Age is at E3. We can play it. We can see it.
God, I'm so stoked for that.
But I do think I agree with you. I think 15 is their big push, and then once it's out, like think about the timing, right? When that game is basically done and close to being launched, you're hitting Gamescom, you're hitting Paris Games Week, you're hitting PSX. That's
TGS.
when you push TGS exactly. That's when you push Final Fantasy 7 remake,
whichever one's first.
What if they announce that people who pre-order Final Fantasy 15 get access to FF7 stuff early?
I think they would have already. Don't forget, dude, the big pre-order push for 15 is done.
But that would be huge. Like, what if the 15 pre-order thing is like you get whatever 7's Dust Guy is?
Maybe.
This guy.
All right, Max, your turn. Sorry. No, I'm not trying to.
Hideo Kojima is going to make an appearance to thunderous applause. Whether or not he comes out to say, hi, I think a PlayStation 4 is a real cool box.
I was so angry you wrote this because I was going to write this.
Yeah. I think he's going to reveal a logo or name for the first project, probably featuring Ludens, the cough drop maker, Space Knight, Skeleton Man.
We got a new picture of him today.
Yep.
I mean, the fact that
what
does he say? The new. What is it? I'm still coming.
I'm still coming. Yeah.
You're all still coming?
That's a weird tagline.
Really weird.
Yeah.
Please just stop high-fiving awkwardly across the desk.
This is what happens when we don't have a girl on the show.
No, I mean I agree with you. I think I think it is time for this, but I love the way you phrased it because we're not going to get like anyone who thinks there's going to be like a 2-minute gameplay
No.
trailer or something.
No,
He's
he went-
crazy.
he
'Cause
went-
that
he-
game has probably barely started.
He went shopping for an engine a month and a half ago.
Exactly.
Like it's not running on anything yet.
But the way you phrase this, a title, a logo, a
Yeah, I think that's really. I
very
think that's
brief
really
tease
solid.
is
That's a
exactly
really good.
right.
Yeah.
I think.
Would
that
you
is
say it's
exactly
solid?
what I'll see.
Metal Gear Solid.
I don't got to write down. That's I can
Legally, he
can I
legally
flip-
can't call it that.
Can I flip people
My
off on
number
the
2
podcast?
is that I do not think we will see.
Okay.
I think you will hear literally no mention of Vita at all. Not
so-
indies. I think there will be
No,
games
it's-
that are announced that in the PlayStation blog post an hour later you'll find out it's coming to Vita.
do you
but I
remember how
bet
many-
you they
you don't think we
mention
will
it.
say the word? No one will say the
Yes,
word Vita.
I do
Go
not
for
think
it. Do
you will
you
see a
remember-
Vita
Gio
logo or-
Corsi will not say the word Vita. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
You monster.
Really?
I would love. This is one I want to be wrong on. I want 30 Vita games.
I want Adam
but-
Boyce to come out in the last 2 seconds and just be like, Vita.
He's like, Vita, screw you, Goldfarb. No, I mean, I think honestly, like, again, I would love to be wrong,
can see him
but
doing that.
I really don't think in
love
a
that
year
guy.
where the PS4 has 40 million units sold,
Yeah.
they're going to launch PS 4.5 or Neo or whatever and VR. I do not think they waste a
Do you remember how many Vitas were on the show floor last year?
Two.
I think they were like, it was like, yeah, less than 3, right?
They were
like at the Atlas booth.
If you're talking about show floor, yeah, they were at the Atlas
But
booth. for
none
Persona
were
4
at
Dancing All Night.
none were at the Sony booth, were they?
No.
No. I mean, well, there might have been a couple, but honestly, I think...
I don't mean like one that some dude brought in.
Yeah, I think the point being that like I really don't think it is like I love the Vita. It's my favorite system. There's no world where
What
I
about
see
Super
them
Nintendo?
having the time to dedicate to
Oh,
it.
also, fun fact, I just saw this in Kotaku. Shout out to those fine folks over there. You can get a refurbished Vita for $100.
Yep.
So
Get
if
that.
you were on the
Seriously.
fence, jump on that.
Get that by Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah.
Tweet at me
Get that,
at
get that,
Garthep.
and then get play. Wait, if you have PlayStation Plus,
PlayStation Plus,
you get
Hotline
a game
Miami,
of-
just go screw
Like Gravity
around
Rush
with it.
1.
I'm sorry, the bad
You
news is
also,
though,
like-
all the PlayStation Vita memory cards
Downwell.
still cost more than refurbished
Yeah, hey,
Vitas.
get ready.
Yeah, we're good.
That I am so sick of that. I have a PS TV and I went to buy a memory card for it, and it's got to be a Vita memory card that goes into it, and there's still $65. It's been like 40 years since that thing came out. What is your problem? What is inside those things?
What if
Get
they
it
came
together.
out- what if they came out
There's
and
no
they were-
third parties for it either. No one's just making a bootleg ass. I will go to China for cheaper than it costs to get a PlayStation memory card for my Vita.
What if they came out and they were like, we're
Sorry.
proud to announce that the Vita is the most profitable Sony product ever because our memory cards were so
Are you eating
damn
a pretzel?
overpriced.
I'm
Because
going to
you're
move
so
away from the
angry?
microphone and eat a pretzel, and it won't be as offensive as the thing I
It's
just
like a
yelled.
weird Wetzel's remix of a Tay Sunday song.
Yeah.
I ate an apple on the microphone.
Well, it's
so never
good
got
that
very
it's.
mad.
Well, we ate ham on the
right.
microphone.
Who's on what next?
Brian,
Tom?
it's on
we're
Brian.
on Brian's
Yeah, we're
number
on
four.
Brian.
Why don't we
With-
skip
they're
Brian
number
because he's
four,
eating a
sorry.
pretzel?
No, this is a really good.
Brian number 4.
Man, that's like a saltine challenge. This is a really good one.
I love this one.
Sucker Punch's new game will be teased.
This was my other one I wanted to steal.
Yes, because
And
it has a
Is
retainer.
it Spider-Man?
Stop talking about the retainer.
It's not Spider-Man.
Okay. What is
it
it?
Definitely,
Infamous?
I do not think it's Spider-Man.
New IP? Is
I'm gonna say new IP. I don't think it's another Infamous.
it Sly Cooper that they teased forever ago that never came out?
Brief history: we haven't seen anything from these guys since the launch of the PS4 with Second
we
Son,
saw First
and then
Light.
we saw First Light a couple months later, or what was it, like a year later?
Well,
No,
no,
it's
no,
a
no.
few
I mean,
months.
Infamous wasn't a launch game. It was a couple months later.
Right.
It was a February game.
launch window, as we
totally,
call
totally,
it.
totally.
These guys are long overdue to show us what they're working on, unless they're just not doing anything. In which, what's going on? I kind of want to know about that. Like, in the same way, I want to know what the hell they did the Last Guardian studio for the last 10 years. Like most day-to-day activity,
Yeah.
where they were just kind of, playing bocce ball in the courtyard or whatever.
They're bocce?
But no,
Goofing?
I loved Infamous Second Son. I really, really love that game. Traversal in that game is sort of still unmatched for a open world third person game.
That game feels so good.
Like, it's just so cool. And it's stupidly easy to just run up a wall. You don't have to think about it, but
Yo,
it's
Saints
so
Row
much fun.
4.
I will say that. Did you play Second Son? Because I will say.
I played
I
First
loved
Light.
it.
Okay, I will say that Second Son does the running up the wall stuff better than Saints Row 4 did.
Wow.
It also makes you feel when you get each new power.
Yep.
Like, honestly, this is probably going to sound like hyperbole, but I think that is the most significant each new power has felt
Yep.
for me since like a Mega Man game. Like, honestly, like that is when you get each of the new
I really like
powers
that.
in that
Yeah.
game, it feels so game changing and
Yep.
it opens so many things to you that it's like so like they're like honestly I probably overall like Infamous 2 better than Second Son, But I do think Second Son makes you appreciate every element that you have and everything you can do more so.
And I loved so much of Second Son. I thought Troy Baker was fantastic. I thought the Seattle setting was really cool. I thought the whole sort of like dystopian police force trying to take you down was really awesome.
And
like,
obviously, like I think that's that world where like it worked for me in such a good way. I love the Infamous universe. Like I never say this because like with Guerrilla, I'm so excited they're doing Horizon. I'm so excited they're moving on from Killzone. With Sucker Punch, I want them to make more Infamous because I love that universe, and I think I cared so much about Cole. I cared so much about Infamous 1 and 2. In the same way I do care about Delsin, like I want more Infamous. I would really love to see them go hard and make us care about that world. And now there are 40 million PS4s
the Spider-Man
out there.
rumors.
Let it be a popular franchise.
What do we do with those? Because weren't they kind of squashed today?
What do you mean today?
I read something about how a different team was working on a new Spider-Man game today.
I mean, so last time we talked about this, I got very corrected because while I was at Gearbox not paying attention to news, we found out that Activision did lose the rights, which apparently reverted back to Sony. So I don't know. I would love to see someone make a cool Spider-Man game.
Yeah,
I think
that is. I'm sorry. That is a tangled web of rights. Yes,
it really is.
Get a high five on this.
It really
high
is.
fives.
But I think it ultimately comes back to Sony, doesn't it? In some weird way.
Only if it's Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh God,
that was amazing. That was amazing.
Ant-Man's hot now. Sorry. But no, really, like it's amazing that like you've got Marvel, you've got Activision, you've got Sony, you've got Disney. There's all these different players in the game, and it's like.
And everyone's kind of playing keep away with each other. In some
who
ways,
can make a Spider-Man video game?
In some ways, I would love a Sucker Punch. In some ways, I'd love a Sucker Punch Spider-Man because some of my favorite video game memories of all time are the 3D open world Spider-Man games.
Spider-Man 2 is incredible.
It's so
Spider-Man 2
Spider-Man 2 is probably still arguably the best open world game.
Yeah, I was in New York recently, and I went to Roosevelt Island specifically because it looked cool, and you can get there on like a weird air trolley, which is so un-New York City. But also because like I had memories of going there in that game.
Yeah,
where it's
awesome.
like you're whipping along the Queensboro Bridge, and all of a sudden you're there. On the flip side, Spider-Man's powers are pretty weak compared to anything that any of the protagonists have ever done in the Infamous games. Like,
but
you can fly around, you can hang people on webs and stuff like that. But
what
like,
if that's the challenge, you know?
Yeah, I guess so.
What if halfway through the game you get the
damage.
black costume, you know?
Either way, if my prediction's true, we get a new Sucker Punch game at E3.
Yeah.
Totally that works.
Mine's a quickie. I think Shadow of Mordor 2 is going to be revealed.
Hey. It's not called Shadow of Mordor 2. It's called Middle-earth 2.
Max, you're a
It's
nerd.
Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor.
Hey Max, what's your next one?
No, I want to point that out. Like that's actually that's good. That's good news.
I think they're going to expand, and I
If
think
Grand Theft Auto was called like San Andreas Grand Theft Auto.
Are you actuallying him on some like Tolkien nonsense right now that
It's
I
not
don't
even
understand?
Tolkien. It's WB branding. It's
But anyone who goes to the store is not going to understand what that is. They just want to see Shadow of Mordor 2 because that first one sold a lot.
Right. But I think they're going to say Middle-earth Shadow of Hobbiton.
What are they going to do with all the people that fall asleep in the store reading that title?
I hope it's like a dance central, but it's all just Tom Bombadil dancing to the songs.
I can totally
J.R.R.
get behind that.
Okay.
Hey Max, number 4.
Yeah, we're out. No, the one thing I'm
This is
worried
like
about.
seriously one of my favorite episodes
This
in
has
a
been
while.
really good.
I'm
This is
having
fun.
such a
Oh,
good
it turns
time.
out we drink.
It
It's
helps
great.
that we're having a delicious cup of milk.
All that milk.
The only thing I'm worried about
I
is
just
the
really
camera
love E3.
literally running out of.
Yeah.
Oh.
We've been going for a while, yeah.
Yeah,
It's an hour 15.
I predict that somebody is wearing a Crash Bandicoot shoot.
I mean, you say somebody, it'll be
Crash
Sean Layden.
Bandicoot shirt like an asshole.
Yeah.
Did you say shoot like he's going to go?
Press
They're
began to
gonna
shoot.
kill an animal on stage.
You can't make me go from talking about Tom Bombadil with Marielle Dolan saying Crash Bandicoot.
Max, honestly, for years, games were revealed at E3 through very strange ways, such as Peter Moore pulling up his sleeve and showing a tattoo. And if somebody comes on
Point of
stage,
the N-Gage,
somebody comes
by a
on
woman
stage,
taking off her shirt.
Yep. If somebody comes on stage with a backpack and they pull a ripcord and a Crash Bandicoot shoot,
That'd be
pops
awesome.
out,
That'd be awesome.
I'm totally in.
Yeah. I think honestly, like, given what happened in Uncharted, I hope that was a very subtle tease, but we'll see.
But if I would love that tease, if the same thing happens at Microsoft with Battletoads, I'm literally going to murder everyone in the IGN war room. So
Why would you do that? Why would you kill a bunch of people that also want to play that
Marty
game?
loves Battletoads. Marty loves.
you don't want to play Battletoads.
I'm morbidly curious.
Emily.
My next one, I think that no
Three
matter
ninjas.
what, I think we will see at least one game or demo that is available now for you to play at home. I think that the Battlefield Hardline demo was really smart that you could that day play it at home. I think what was that game? The two birds that were opposite colors.
Someone with an E.
Yeah, I think like when they do that stuff, it's awesome, and I think like the fact that this year E3 Live was announced, which is a public event. I think Nintendo is doing a lot of smart stuff with letting people come to E3 or play from New York. Like I think they want at this point, look, like E3 gets it, and I think like a lot or Sony and Microsoft get it, and they want people to be able to experience this week from home.
Yeah, it's smart.
I think it would make perfect sense for people to be able to play a big and new demo from home. And I think that's something we'll see more and more often. Sony especially understands that, so I think we'll see at least one game that like you at home get to play during the week of E3.
Yeah.
And, which is a lot better than just being like entwined. Available now.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
Was that the one you were talking about?
Entwined, yeah. It was Entwined, and it was that same year it was Entwined, and then
And
at
then
Gamescom we got PT.
No, and
then
at that same E3, it was the Dead Rising Super Hyper Ultra weird thing.
Yes, and
So,
the Battlefield Hardline.
One of my post E3 rituals is to get home and start downloading all the games that were available right now that I couldn't play.
Yeah, because we're all working.
yeah.
One of them was that.
Or baby, wow.
Wah. But whatever. I remember like the Friday morning of E3, waking up and downloading
the baby.
Entwined and just being like, oh, I understand why this
Yeah.
game didn't have a pre-release cycle or hype behind it at all. It's
that's-
not good.
It's the smartest thing in the world because it's like the free T-shirt for people who were there, but it's
Yep.
like it's effectively digital swag.
Who up next?
Max, your last prediction.
My last prediction
of the year.
My blank.
Your
prediction.
ultimate prediction.
I
do
think
you
we're
want?
gonna get something stunning from Rockstar. I don't know if it's gonna be Red Dead 2. I feel like everyone's expecting Red Dead 2, but
He's gonna break his neck.
Goldfarb whipping his hair back and forth so hard his head might fall
former
off.
Take-Two employee is making some kind of weird palsy gesture. I don't know. What?
Our figure box was not owned by Take-Two or 2K.
What?
They're not owned by Take-Two or 2K.
Yeah.
Aren't they distributed by them?
Their games are many of their games are published by Take-Two.
Okay,
They're an
point is,
independent company.
Take-Two.
I'm gonna silently munch pretzels in the corner as this
I think
debate
one of
goes
the
down.
biggest giveaways a week before E3 is trademarks, and the fact that Take-Two just re-upped the trademark for Agent means we're going to see something. Maybe.
I think we see nothing from Rockstar at E3.
Really?
Yep.
No Red Dead, nothing, not even a teaser.
Okay.
That's not my last prediction, but yeah.
What about
I don't think-
what about Red Dead remastered or something like that?
I think Rockstar is too big. I think honestly, like even the Sony staged E3 is too small for them.
I think you're wrong.
They are a company that does not want to be drowned out by anyone else, and I think why? Like if you're Rockstar, why bother during E3 week when Zelda and like Recore and Halo Wars 2 and
Not
whatever else it is.
Recore.
No, I mean seriously though, like why are you competing against other first
No,
parties?
I'm totally with you. I just love the idea of them being like, so we have a new GTA, but we don't want Recore to take.
I'm excited for Recore, but that's
KJ Inafune is going to
dude,
deliver his
that
third
is-
undelivered game in
that's-
7 years.
That's the perfect point. Like, if you were a Rockstar,
We got to stay clear of this one.
why compete with that, right? Like,
Sure.
why bother? And so
No.
I think Red Dead, maybe, I'm not even ruling out the fact that it could be 2017 or 2016 even, but if you're going to do it yourself. Like,
Yes.
don't do it during the week of the busiest
And
video game conference of the year.
historically, they don't really care about that convention. They just
Yep.
don't show up. They don't need to.
I mean,
They-
except for 2 years ago when they announced that GTA was coming to PS4 and next
Yeah.
gen. And they
And
were
Yeah,
like,
but
Peter
is
Moore's
that
rolled up his sleeves
now it
for
has
GTA release
cats?
dates and for DLC and stuff.
Years ago, though. Like,
Yeah.
the landscape is
Dude, Red Dead
changed.
is not GTA. That's the thing. Like GTA
But
can
that's
do that.
exactly-
Red Dead can't.
But that's exactly the point, right? GTA can come out during E3 and be big enough that it drowns out everything else. Red Dead can't.
No.
Red Dead can get lost in the shuffle.
Yes.
Because if there are 5 new IPs from Microsoft and Nintendo and everybody else, like
what if they announced?
All right, there's not gonna be any new IPs from Nintendo.
What if they announced Liberty City DLC for GTA 5?
That'd be cool.
There was a screenshot floating around that apparently looked like that.
Yeah, there was that long rumored story DLC stuff they might add on.
Yeah.
I think I'm with Andrew in that I'm not entirely sure that'll be a thing at E3. But like we said before, pragmatism, very important.
I don't think it's a matter of Rockstar being like, should we throw our hat in the ring, and more like publishers, or not publishers, like Microsoft or Sony or whoever being like,
here is all the money.
For the love of God, please come to our conference.
Right.
Yeah.
Come to our house party.
Yep.
We
Care
really-
about our lineup.
Yeah.
We're having a homecoming party. I just really would love it if you'd show up.
Man, we're talking a lot about people making loves during high school.
Okay, I think that might be the worst noise ever recorded on this show.
We ate ham.
What was
We
that?
ate ham like 2 months ago.
That sounded like a whale eating its daughter. That was probably
I was going to go with a whale dying.
that was so bad.
Oh, wait.
It sounded like Free Willy, the director's cut.
Who's up next? I'm glad you didn't drop dead because
Brian, you go. You give your last
this is my 5th and final prediction, and it's a really big one. It's a 2-part prediction. It's ready? God of War 4 or God of War PS4, and wait for it.
It's good you did
Knack
that in the
2.
microphone.
Knack 2.
Knackin' will be revealed at E3. During the conference, we will get a brand new next-gen God of War.
Knack Gen.
God of War, I'm with you on.
Knack 2. Don't knack it till you try it.
Yep. Don't knack the hustle.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with Knack. I think if there is
Hard
another
knack life.
if there is another Knack, it is
Knack in
like
action.
Mark Cerny is the guy
Knacking
that
with attitude.
does have the clout to fight for another. Like of everyone, it's like when you guys let me talk about Persona on this show.
Yeah.
Like it is like someone who is high enough up that like you'll let him have his little sad project.
Yep.
I think that like I get it, and I think like. He's someone who, if he really cares enough about that franchise, he could push through a sequel to Knack 2. Because Mark Cerny, for anyone who's not aware, despite being lead on Knack 2, or on Knack 1 rather, is also the chief architect of the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So he's somebody who pushed through that platformer because he intimately understood.
Also,
the knowledge of the
didn't that
PS4.
dude create Qbert?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
Mark Cerny's been around forever.
I heard
like,
his
he's
wife
somebody
is
who-
Marble Madness.
He comes to the arcade era, like he gets it.
Yeah.
If Knack 2 comes, it would be because it's something he believes in so much. I do like, despite everything you think of Knack, everything that doesn't make it like even close to a notable launch title, technically it was cool. Like it did a lot of
You
smart
could
things.
have that Assassin's Creed 2 thing where it's like, hey, a second one could
Yeah.
make this
Well,
better.
this is why I put this
Exactly.
on the list because Knack was a
Who's there?
It's a definitive 6.5 game. Probably even a 6. 6.5 range, right? Not great, not even good. It's an okay game. It's a launch
I would
game.
call it good.
It's a launch
like
game
Knack.
that sold more copies than Super Mario 3D World, despite being a incredibly reach from the fathoms of space inferior platforming
Yeah.
game. Just a nowhere near the quality that game
Yeah.
had. But great tech demo, good attitude, it was a fun, cool, interesting game.
I do not regret playing through that game.
Me neither. As much as I was allowed to play before,
The
it physically
IGN review
broke on
score
me.
is 5.9.
Okay, well,
For what it's worth.
so I'm hovering right underneath the average at the okay range. What's 5.9 on
I
the
think
scale?
average.
Pretty meh.
I think you're insane.
Decent.
We're absolutely not seeing Knack 2. That's
What?
the other thing. We're never
No,
seeing
you're
Knack
crazy.
Again.
We
We're
will.
never seeing Knack again.
We will.
I totally agree with you, though. God of War, I think will be revealed. I think it will be Norse, and I think it will come out this year.
You say
I think-
Norse?
Norse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I say it wrong?
I'm gonna slowly claw at these processes back.
You little monster.
Yes, 100%.
Worst case
So
scenario.
Norse, and I think that's their one of their big fall game. But that's not my final prediction. My final prediction, which I erased because it was a God of War thing, is that we're finally going to see Sony Ben's game, which has been a prediction on this podcast for 4 years.
I love you, Colin, and you have said this since 2012. I would love to see Sony Ben really lean into either a fully next-gen reboot of Siphon Filter or smart new IP. I still don't think we'll see it. I think Sony Ben's game gets revealed at PSX.
Eric,
Siphon
why?
Filter's
Why are
been
you doing
gone
this?
so long.
Eric
that-
Jensen, we love you so much.
Yes, we do.
Still don't think we'll see your game.
Siphon Filter's been gone for so long that if it comes back, everyone will be sitting in the room like,
It's as though it's a new IP. Yeah. And I mean, so there have been
What is called
rumors.
Gabe Logan's Run.
Yes, exactly. There have been rumors about what their game is.
Logan.
Damn it, Marty.
Logan's Run was a film. What are you doing? What are you looking
There
up?
have been rumors about what that game is.
Why are you googling stuff at this point?
Because Shinobi, who's a big New F guy, said it's called Dead Don't Ride, which is a zombie
Like post-apocalyptic
biker game?
zombie biker thing.
Yeah. And I mean, like, great. If it's that, awesome. Like, I want to see what Sony
Ride
Bend
to
is
Hell,
doing.
Retribution, Undead
They're
Nightmare.
they're a very talented studio that, aside from Siphon Filter, made Uncharted Golden Abyss, which I personally think is better than Uncharted 1. Like, they took a franchise that was years
I would say
in.
a lot of people side with you on that,
Yeah.
including most of the people in this room.
Yeah, and I think like that's a game that they took an established IP and they made something very smart out of it, and
Yeah.
they made something that fit yes, it was the launch of a console, so yeah, you had to hold up to the light, and you
It
had
was
to do
gimmicky with a
things-
lot of like, look what the Vita can do.
Touch
But
its
at the same
back.
time,
I wish
like,
that they used
aside from that,
that design to just make an Antiques Roadshow game where
Yeah.
you're just like, whoa, it's a Tiffany lamp, but I better rotate it around and dust it off to find
but
out
that's
for
the thing,
sure.
like yes, like every other launch that has a gimmick, it had to lean into the capabilities of that console, but also it was a fun game, and
Yeah.
it was longer than a lot of Uncharted games.
You know what?
like,
Everything's not about like.
Also, Max, Tiffany Lamp was killed in the first Uncharted game.
So yeah,
His
I
mate's
agree.
first girlfriend.
I think Sony Ben's game being D3, like it's time. I think we haven't seen anything from them in a while. I think that makes sense.
All right, your
It's
last one.
funny you
your last
joke
one,
that
little-
because there's a Bond girl named Tiffany Case who's
Really?
literally- yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
No, it's not.
My final prediction
Easily
is
amused.
that
It's also Neiman Marcus sofa.
I do think the rumors are true about PS4 5 or Neo or whatever you call it. I do think it's mentioned in D3, but I think Sony is smart. They've learned a lot. They were in second place for most of last gen. I think they understand now, being far in the lead, I think they understand what consumers want.
Yes.
And so I think you do see PS4 5 or Neo or whatever at E3, but I think they're very smart and also offer a very smart upgrade plan for current PS4 owners. And so I think what you'll see at E3 is the processing box that comes with PSVR. I think you will see some version of that you can buy as a separate peripheral that will turn your current PS4 into essentially Neo.
Yeah.
That will give it new power, new capabilities, new whatever.
New
to run new
responsibility.
games. Yeah, and it's like obviously much like the comparison I use is the new
expansion pack?
3DS XL.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where it's like basically like if you buy the new 3DS XL, it has built-in NFC. It has the second analog stick. It has things you can buy, but if you have an old 3DS, you can still get like the cradle.
You can
still get
Frankenstein
the
it
separate
together.
NFC thing. Yeah, you can Frankenstein together exactly this kind of version that builds into the new thing. And I think Sony is smart enough to get it that 40 million PS4s are out there, so people will be able to upgrade their existing console.
I like it.
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I feel like that's the smartest way to market
won't-
it, and
yeah,
the smartest way to like not piss
To
off
not
people.
make people angry.
it won't be pretty,
No,
but it'll get the job done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you want something pretty, buy the Neo, buy the 415.
Sure.